The doctor's words fell like cold rain inside the small white hospital room. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "Your daughter will never walk again." Those 8 words changed Mark Rivera's life forever. Little Emma was only 7 years old. Just 3 months earlier she had been a bright, energetic child who loved running through the park, chasing butterflies, and dancing around the living room with her mom. Then a sudden, mysterious illness attacked her nervous system. One morning she woke up unable to feel her legs. Within days, she was completely paralyzed from the waist down. Specialists were called in from all over the country. Expensive tests were done. Famous doctors examined her case. But no one could give real hope. The final conclusion was always the same: permanent damage, no cure. Emma's mother, Lisa, collapsed under the weight of it all. The stress, the fear, and the endless hospital visits broke her spirit. One night she looked at Mark with tired, empty eyes and whispered, "I don't think I'm strong enough for this." A few months later, overwhelmed and heartbroken, she left, unable to cope with the reality of their new life. That left Mark alone, a single dad with a little girl who couldn't walk. He worked as a school janitor. His paycheck barely covered rent and bills, let alone expensive medical treatments. But every night after Emma went to sleep, he sat at the kitchen table with a stack of medical books borrowed from the library. He didn't have a medical degree. He wasn't a scientist. He was just a father who refused to accept that his daughter had no future. "I don't care what the doctors say," he told Emma one evening while brushing her hair. "We're going to find a way. I promise you." Emma smiled, but it was a sad little smile. "It's okay, Dad. You don't have to pretend." "I'm not pretending," he replied. Months turned into a year. Their life settled into a difficult routine. Mark carried Emma everywhere, to school, to the bathroom, to bed. He learned how to cook, clean, work full-time, and still be both mom and dad. He was exhausted, but he never complained. Every specialist they visited repeated the same hopeless message. One wealthy doctor even said bluntly, "Even with unlimited money, this condition is irreversible." Unlimited money. Mark laughed bitterly when he heard that. He didn't even have limited money. But something inside him refused to quit. One day, while cleaning the gym at the school where he worked, Mark watched the physical education teacher helping a student recover from a sports injury. He noticed the exercises, the slow muscle training, the careful movements. An idea sparked in his mind. What if Emma's legs didn't need medicine? What if they needed patience, love, and daily work instead? That night, he pushed the furniture aside in their tiny living room and created a small exercise space. He used old belts to make support straps. He built simple braces from cheap materials. He watched online videos about muscle therapy and nerve stimulation. "Dad, what are you doing?" Emma asked from her wheelchair. "Building your future," he answered with a grin. From that day on, they started a routine. Every morning before school and every evening after dinner, Mark gently exercised Emma's legs. He massaged the muscles. He helped her try to stand, even though she collapsed again and again. He celebrated the smallest signs of progress, a twitch of a toe, a tiny movement, a bit of strength. Some days Emma cried in frustration. "It's not working, Dad. I'll never walk." Mark would kneel in front of her, wipe her tears, and say, "Not yet. But you will." Years passed. Most people thought he was wasting his time. Relatives told him to accept reality. Doctors shook their heads. Friends suggested he move on and focus on making life comfortable instead of chasing miracles. But Mark didn't need a miracle. He only needed faith. Then, on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon, something extraordinary happened. While practicing her standing exercises, Emma suddenly felt something she hadn't felt in years: strength. Real strength. Her legs trembled, but they held. Dad, she whispered, eyes wide. What is it, sweetheart? I think I can stand. Mark froze. Slowly, carefully, she released his hands. And for the first time in 5 years, Emma stood on her own 2 feet. They both burst into tears. From that moment, progress came faster. A few steps turned into a few more. The wheelchair gathered dust in the corner. Neighbors watched in disbelief as the girl who was never going to walk again began practicing walking down the sidewalk with her father beside her. Word spread. Doctors who once gave up on her asked to see her again. Therapists were shocked. Medical experts couldn't fully explain what had happened. But Mark could. Love had happened. One afternoon, years after she had walked out of their lives, Lisa returned. She had heard the unbelievable news and came to see it with her own eyes. She knocked on the door nervously. When it opened, she saw something that stole her breath away. Emma walked toward her. Not in a wheelchair. Not with crutches. But on her own legs. Mom, Emma said softly. Lisa collapsed in tears, covering her mouth, shaking with emotion. How is this possible? Mark stood beside his daughter, proud and calm. She never needed billionaire doctors, he said gently. She just needed someone who wouldn't give up on her. That day, Lisa finally understood what real strength looked like. Emma went on to live a normal, happy life. She joined her school dance club. She ran in the park again. And whenever someone asked how she recovered, she always gave the same answer. My dad believed in me. The world may measure power with money, titles, and degrees. But sometimes, the greatest miracle in life is simply a father who refuses to quit. And that is stronger than all the doctors in the world.